Have you ever heard that compound interest is the secret sauce to building massive wealth? The idea that you just need to park your money somewhere smart, let it work its magic, and over time, boom, financial freedom. It sounds almost too good to be true, doesn't it? But here's the thing. If compound interest is such a game changer, why do so many people who try to invest still struggle to see their wealth grow? Why do countless individuals throw in the towel before they even get close to real results? It's not because compound interest is a myth. It's absolutely real and incredibly powerful. The problem lies in how most people approach it. They're using this phenomenal tool in a way that's flawed from the very beginning. A lot of folks believe that any amount of money, no matter how tiny, will snowball into a fortune if they just wait long enough. They think a few dollars here and there will guarantee a cushy retirement or a life of luxury. But here's the harsh truth that nobody talks about. Compound interest only becomes a wealth-building juggernaut when you have a substantial amount of capital to start with. Without a solid base, the growth is so sluggish that frustration creeps in, and that's when most people quit before they even give themselves a chance to win. Today, I'm pulling back the curtain to reveal the real secret behind making compound interest work for you and how you can actually get there. I'll also explain why simply dipping your toes into investing isn't enough and what you need to do to build that critical foundation to supercharge your wealth. If you're ready to learn how to harness compound interest without falling for hype or empty promises, stick with me until the end. Subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and drop a comment below. Tell me if you're already investing or if you're ready to start stronger today. What I'm about to share could completely flip your perspective and might just be the missing piece to finally achieving your financial independence. Are you ready to embark on this journey with me? What exactly is compound interest, and why is it such a big deal? Before we dive into the secret that nobody tells you, let's get crystal clear on what compound interest is and why it's practically worshipped in the financial world. At its core, compound interest is the process where you earn returns not just on the money you initially invest, but also on the profits that money generates over time. Think of it like a snowball rolling down a hill. It starts small, but as it picks up more snow, or in this case, interest, it grows bigger and faster. This creates a cascading effect that can lead to explosive growth over the years. Legendary author Napoleon Hill, who spent his life studying the habits of the ultra-wealthy, always stressed that patience and consistency are the bedrock of compounding's power. That's why you hear the same advice over and over. Start investing early and let your money grow over long periods. It's solid advice, but here's the catch. It's not the whole story. Too many people fool themselves into thinking that tossing a few bucks into an investment account every month will be enough to transform their financial future. They hear success stories of millionaires who started young and assume the same will happen to them. The reality? Compound interest is an incredible tool, but it needs a strong foundation to truly shine. Without that, you're playing a game of slow-motion growth that tests your patience and resolve. If you grasp this foundational principle, you'll understand why simply starting to invest doesn't automatically lead to wealth. It's a strategic game that hinges on time, discipline, and, most importantly, the size of your starting capital. Let's dig deeper into the core issue that trips up most people and sabotages their success with compound interest. The real problem: why compound interest doesn't always deliver. Have you ever wondered why, despite knowing about the magic of compound interest, so many people fail to leverage it to grow their wealth? The answer boils down to one critical factor: the initial amount you invest. Most beginner investors start with very small sums, sometimes less than what they spend on coffee or takeout each week, and expect those tiny contributions to change their lives. And that's where the disconnect happens. Compound interest absolutely works, but its true power only kicks in when you have a substantial capital base to work with. When you start with a small amount, the growth is so gradual that it can feel like you're getting nowhere, and that's when discouragement sets in. Let me paint a picture. Imagine you're planting a garden. If you start with a tiny seed and don't nurture it properly, it might take years to grow into a tree that bears fruit. But if you plant a healthy sapling and tend to it diligently, watering it, protecting it from pests, giving it sunlight, it'll grow faster and produce results much sooner. Compound interest is the same. A small starting amount will grow, but the pace is so slow that most people lose motivation and abandon their efforts. This doesn't mean you shouldn't invest small amounts. It's a great start. But to really unlock the potential of compounding, you need a larger base or a strategy to build one quickly. Without it, you're stuck in a cycle of slow progress that feels more like a grind than a path to wealth. Facing the numbers, how much do you really need? Now that you know starting small won't deliver the rapid results you're hoping for, let's talk about the numbers. What's the minimum amount needed for compound interest to really start working its magic? This might be a tough pill to swallow, but facing reality is the only way to avoid chasing illusions. Suppose you invest $100 a month in an account earning 8% annually. Sounds promising, right? But even with unwavering discipline, it could take decades to build a meaningful sum. The growth is so incremental in the early years that it's easy to lose steam and give up. Now, contrast that with someone who starts with $10,000. With the same 8% return, the compounding effect becomes noticeable much faster because the earnings are calculated on a larger base from day one. This is the difference between crawling and sprinting toward wealth. The larger your starting capital, the quicker you see tangible results, and the more motivated you stay. But let's be real. Not everyone has $10,000 sitting around to invest, and that's perfectly okay. The key takeaway is that the size of your initial investment matters a lot. To see your wealth grow consistently and at a pace that feels rewarding, you need to focus on building that base. This takes discipline, strategic planning, and sometimes tough choices, but once you reach that critical mass, compound interest becomes a relentless wealth-building machine. The turning point: how to build wealth even if you're starting small. If you don't have a big chunk of cash to invest right now, don't lose hope. The good news is that even starting with modest amounts, there are proven strategies to accelerate your journey to the solid base that compound interest thrives on. The turning point comes when you realize it's not just about how much you invest, but how you manage, grow, and protect your capital. Let's break it down. First, discipline is non-negotiable. Saving and investing regularly, no matter how small the amount, builds a habit that compounds over time, just like your money. Consistency is more powerful than sporadic bursts of effort. Second, focus on boosting your active income. Without extra cash flow, it's hard to grow your investment base quickly. This could mean asking for a raise, picking up a side hustle, or even launching a small business. The goal is to free up more money to invest. Third, steer clear of financial pitfalls that drain your resources, like high-interest debt, impulse purchases, or lifestyle inflation. Every dollar you save from these traps can be redirected to your investments, fueling the compounding engine. Finally, invest in your financial education and mindset. Knowledge is power, and understanding how money works, along with cultivating a success-oriented mindset, helps you make smarter decisions, avoid costly mistakes, and stay focused on your long-term goals. These steps aren't glamorous, but they're effective. When you combine discipline, increased income, frugality, and education, your small starting amount will grow faster than you think, and with it, the power of compound interest will start to shine. The mindset that makes compound interest work. Here's the part most people overlook. The true driver of compound interest success isn't just money, it's your mindset. Having the right attitude, a long-term vision, and unshakable discipline is what separates those who build lasting wealth from those who stay stuck. You could have a fortune to invest, but without a strong mindset, that money could vanish due to impulsive decisions, constant second-guessing, or giving up too soon. Napoleon Hill was spot on when he said wealth begins in the mind. Before any financial strategy can work, you need to master how you think about money, risk, and time. Financial success is a marathon, not a sprint. It requires emotional resilience, patience, and relentless focus. Many people quit because they don't see instant results or let fear and doubt dictate their actions. But the truth is, trusting the process and staying patient are what turns small gains into fortunes. A success mindset also means staying laser-focused on your goals, growing your investment base, avoiding distractions like flashy purchases, and resisting the urge to cash out for short-term gratification. This takes emotional discipline and a clear vision of where you're headed. A strong mindset equips you to keep investing through market volatility, seek knowledge when things feel uncertain, and stay committed when others would throw in the towel. It's about having the patience to let your wealth grow, the courage to invest when others are panicking, and the wisdom to persevere through challenges. Without this mental foundation, Compound interest remains a theoretical concept that never takes root in your life. But when your mind is aligned with your goals, you become unstoppable, ready to activate the full power of compounding and build the wealth you've always dreamed of.